and MegD's on the Val, and Sandstorm is on the Mirage as we go into the elimination final of Moose Wars Frozen Fury 1v1s.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the set between these two. I mean, really Sandstorm back on the scythe and MegD trying to just hold stage control. It's just very fun to watch from a technical standpoint. MegD's movement is so good, and Sandstorm dominating already. The weapon starving, just a few hits, and stage control for MegD, but just for a moment, finally able to pick up the sword. Sandstorm not catching the landing, and both players just a little bit nervous at the start of the first game, hoping to connect on a couple extra hits that will take me to Cobra. Wow. MegD reads the dodge in, dare recovery, and nice, right on the Sandstorm. Sandstorm holding stage control against MegD though with the spear, these nairs and recoveries, able to just carry him up, knock him into K% almost on this map. And Sandstorm with the scythe just wants a couple hits, and like no dodge rate off of it. MegD barely trying to land.
Yeah, and I mean, realistically right now, I mean, MegD and Sandstorm are going to have a lot more of a floating map compared to previous sets that we've seen, and MegD is really showing that while seeing Sandstorm get sword comboed off the side of this map and has a little bit of a lead as we go a minute in, but MegD using that sword, trying to weapon star Sandstorm a little bit. Sandstorm with that spear, tries to get some type of signature knockout on MegD, tries to get some type of read. But at the moment, we're seeing MegD have a little bit of a lead here. Sandstorm trying to get the spear side air. MegD's really doing good with these punishes of these attacks Sandstorm is currently missing. But as I say that, Sandstorm comes in with a spear recovery knockout on the MegD.
MegD got a lot of extra credit on that final stock, and that could really work in his favor for the remainder of this game if Sandstorm isn't able to pick it up. Able to get in on MegD, and MegD whole stage control, gets the read. Air and light true combo for gauntlets, and Sandstorm makes it back, but no options. The weapon throw, oh, barely dodges through the dare. Sandstorm, what an option pick. Great recovery from him, and all of a sudden this game may flip on its head. Sandstorm should be done, but finally dealer recovery gonna do it. MegD corrects the error, and finally Sandstorm on final stock of this first game.
Absolutely, and I mean, right now, MegD's taking this overall control of Sandstorm. Sandstorm's throwing these attacks out that, I mean, MegD's just really punishing very, very well. I mean, we're seeing Sandstorm miss one attack and MegD punish it with a sword combo, and just getting this damage build up that they need. But at the current moment, Sandstorm is starting to come back here with that scythe. That scythe's catching MegD off guard, similar to what we just saw from the previous set with those guitars. And that neutral control is what Sandstorm is going to need to go ahead and beat MegD in round number 1.
MegD wants to put up a lot of damage here, but no! Wow, wait, Sarah, I'm surprised that KO'd off the left. Sandstorm, an early stock, able to pick it up and not too many hits onto him. So fairly even game, which is surprising from the way it started, and MegD on the back foot now. Sandstorm with stage control against MegD, just trying to make it back. Scythe so good in this moment. The end like catches Sarah from MegD from ledge, and Sandstorm opting for the spear. Hunting him. So many hits trying to connect. Sandstorm looking around because D-Light dared for his troubles, and this game's so even. The players brawling right now.
Absolutely. Right now, Sandstorm comes through the downlight side. He gets a downlight into recovery. Does not knock out MegD off that ceiling of this map. It's going to be close between both these players, Sandstorm and MegD. MegD does not have the weapon. Picks up that sword. Hits the neutral light onto Sandstorm. Sandstorm with no weapon right now. As we get into the 3-minute, 30-second mark, Sandstorm with no more jump option. MegD with the punish. And it's so close. Both players are in the red. MegD with this platform control. And Sandstorm trying to punish it here. And
Sandstorm
right now,
in.
there we go! Sandstorm coming in with that lovely Mirage Spear signature, knocking out MegD and taking game number 1. And they're ready to go straight in the next game. MegD's feeling that overall rush that he got in that final stock knockout that Sandstorm was able to get on him, and he wants some revenge here, there, Serge.
Yeah, that, wow, as we see in the replay, that took some bravery. From the corner, just dashes right into it. Could have easily lost the game for that, and Sandstorm just knows. Years and years of experience in this game. Sandstorm in his element right now. Finally takes a game. MegD pulls him up, finds the sword, trying to hold some stage control, play his gameplay against Sandstorm right now, which didn't work in the last game. Sandstorm catches the dodge, but no follow-ups. And Sandstorm with the scythe. D-Sig, no punish. Quite the signature. And weapon throw bounces MegD. Both players fairly even right now. Sandstorm just a little bit more hurt on the spear.
Absolutely. And right now, I mean, these first stocks tend to be a little bit more even, a lot of back and forth. But will one of these players say, you know what, that's going to change very quickly? I don't know. But at the moment, Sandstorm with this neutral control, we're seeing MegD kind of stepping back a little bit, letting Sandstorm have that control and trying to find these little dodge options here and then that they can take advantage of. MegD with that sword sider knocking on the Sandstorm. Sandstorm realizing that he has no more option, just falls up the side, comes back up unarmed, and MegD kind of throws their weapon out by mistake. And at the moment, we'd have Sandstorm with spear and MegD with sword.
Yeah, MegD holding on to this lead, something that MegD has always been very good at. Just part of his core as a player is hanging on to a lead for so long, just dragging it out, each hit, connecting, and MegD still hasn't lost this stock. And like weapon throw, tries to catch a high recovery, but not gonna do it. MegD holding stage control still against Sandstorm. A wild GC down signature from the Mirage, and MegD up off the top. Still a little bit of damage for Sandstorm, so MegD likes what he saw so far. D-Late Sair trying to build up back this lead for Sandstorm.
Yeah, and at the moment, I mean, we saw this last round though too. Sandstorm was able to go ahead and turn things around, but I mean, he kind of has to get into the mental of his opponent whenever he can and try to maximize on those options. We're just seeing Scythe gameplay going back and forth. MegD's already in the yellowish orange. MegD also has no weapons, so Sandstorm is taking advantage of that, knowing the full weapon set of unarmed because he's also playing unarmed and just trying to go crazy with it. MegD, nice neutral light, tries to get the sword side air, lands that, but Sandstorm's movement barely saving them there, except the sword going off the left, it goes off the right, and MegD with a sword neutral light weapon throw. Oh, and that lands. Sandstorm is down to their final stock. Will MegD hold their stock advantage, or will we see a reverse here?
So far, a clinic from MegD on how to hold a lead, able to get these end lights, just a couple hits, but it works so effectively at keeping Sandstorm out. Has held stage control for what felt like 2.5 minutes from MegD right now. GC down signature, not going to do it for Sandstorm, but worked on that first stock, isn't going to work on this one. Sandstorm in so much trouble trying to play into center stage. It feels like Sandstorm's playing from the corner, but he's playing from center stage. MegD, D-Late Sair. Oh, Sandstorm drops the D-Late recovery, and MegD holding on the stock forever. Sandstorm misses each of these signatures double D-Late because he uses dodge in. Wow, MegD cleans it up, 2 stock. What an answer.
MegD, man, going in with the phenomenal double sword combo knockoff out off the side of the map on that final stock, and Sandstorm was just really trying to prioritize that as spear, and MegD with that neutral light weapon throw, and then MegD realizing Sandstorm did a signature knockout that previous round, realized that he was going to do a couple signatures there and got the phenomenal punish. And my gosh, I mean, MegD did 458 damage with sword. Hey Serge, my goodness, man.
Yeah, quite the sword clinic from him in that game. And it really did feel like MegD takes a small lead and it just grows and grows and grows, because a lot of these moves, sword, end light, side light, things that could just push them away just a little bit so that you're able to take stage control. And MegD's so good at holding center stage with a lead. Just a complete clinic from MegD in that game on both sword and how to hold center stage.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Sandstorm, just went in for a double signature, being very, very risky off that end. And I think realistically, that could have changed if they didn't do that second signature, that would have changed almost the entire game. It also depends on how MegD's really approaching that edge. So props to MegD, props to Sandstorm. We are currently 1-on-1 in the elimination final of Frozen Fury 1v1s. And at the moment, it's going to be close to kind of see which player realistically advances into the grand finals.
Yeah. Awaiting both of them as Luna in winner's side. Scary opponent for both of them. 1-1 between the two, and surprisingly, just such a good answer from MegD in that second game. But the first game from Sandstorm was not nearly as dominant. I think it might be a character swap from Sandstorm, who played, I believe, Thor, right, in winner's finals. So, and we know plenty of different character selections from Sandstorm could easily switch to whatever. If you could still pick random, and he could pick it and pick something he's probably beaten a top level player with. Quite the diverse characters picks.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, realistically, we're going into this matchup here, and I mean, if you're both of these players, you are just trying to find something to take advantage of. And at the current moment, I mean, Sandstorm wants to have his revenge against Luna. They do not want to get 3-0 and get knocked out of this event in the elimination final. But you also have MegD trying to say, you know what, I want to go ahead and make amends for what happened at the BCX 2022 World Championship, where Luna beat MegD, right? So we're going to definitely see what happens here going forward. But I mean, right now at the moment, we're just waiting on Sandstorm to hop back in this room to go ahead and play game number 3. Into our round number 3. And realistically, A-Surge, just as similar, except to being a BO5 now, both players' mentals have reset because Sandstorm's game was having a problem. It's now technically a BO3 in an elimination final.
Yeah, maybe he iced him out, who knows?
Yeah.
But definitely, there's an element of that, the reset of the mental. Yeah. Although both players, as you said, MegD playing in so many tournaments, both players so seasoned, I feel like between game to game, the mental may just not even be a factor. The iron solid mental for both players, I believe. And as we go into this third game, I think a nice reset may have helped a little bit between the two. We go right to the Fortress of Lions, one of my favorite maps that they've added recently, a little similar to Apocalypse, and you get right into it as game 3.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to game number 3. Same legends as we saw in game number 1, game number 2. Sandstorm is very much set on this Mirage so far, and we'll kind of have to see what happens. But Sandstorm trying to play a little bit of Spear, trying to play a little bit of that Scythe, but MegD's sword control so far is basically not allowing for Sandstorm to really use anything with Spear, and Sandstorm kind of has to resort over to that Scythe.
MegD getting hit with the D-Link. These recoveries are a little bit of a struggle. The GC D-Link, what a great option. Dashes off for a dare. MegD caught holding down. Recovers into the weapon throw. Not much you can do there, but what an edge guard from Sandstorm. It just felt like one D-Light in orange and all of a sudden you're done.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And this is something that you definitely are going to be like, Sandstorm's going to take into his mental and be like, hey, I just did that. I'm going to go and do that more. But will MegD's sword allow that? And it looks like it may not, depending on how Sandstorm comes back. Oh, that signature to come back to the ledge was a very nice option. And either way, though, MegD still gets a sword combo recovery. And it is an even game right now, there, A-Surge.
Yeah, right back to even between these two players. Not a scratch on them, not even a weapon throw. Sandstorm able to pick up the spear. MegD trying to hold center stage against him, but a little bit of a heavy option in recovery. Both players just scrapping right now in center stage. Sandstorm finally get a bit of an advantage, goes off stage, not successful, and Sandstorm in a bit of a rough position at the moment. Uses his dodge, but no punish from MegD. Just wants to wait it out, and center stage still constantly taking it back from MegD. So good at that, and Sandstorm catches the dodge in. But, oh no, what a great read, but he does so much there. Not gonna do it, gets knocked back. And oh, such a scary situation for Sandstorm, finally able to make it back. A breath of life back into the second stock.
Yeah, and Sandstorm's trying to throw these different like neutral air attacks with that Scythe, and MegD's sword's out prioritizing it. So Sandstorm's gonna go back over to that spear, try to counter the range of MegD's sword. MegD's sword is just overpowering Sandstorm's gameplay. And as I say that, that's a grounded cancel side signature, knocking out MegD's second stock as we get into the 540 mark of this round. And I mean, this is definitely an extremely close game number 3.
I think Mirage a great legend for catching backdashes, and MegD caught just a little bit back, but wow, another even game. D-Late Sarah catches the landing, and this game on a knife's edge at the moment for both players, just so close between them. One neutral win can set up a nice lead for either of them, but as we've seen, both able to come back too, so who knows where this could go, AJ.
It can go anywhere, and realistically, it's going to come down to who has that neutral control going into these final stocks. I mean, MegD's sword gameplay is coming from that neutral control of this map, and I think Sandstorm really needs to take that away from him if he wants to go ahead and win this round. And at the moment, he's doing so. Knocks MegD into the orange, gets Spear Silent, tries to do some type of recovery option. Neutral light, weapon throw. He's actually going to try to pick up the Scythe again. Silent, maybe a signature here. We're seeing a lot of signature knockouts from Sandstorm. We'll have to see, but it's close. But MegD is not able to land anything, and Sandstorm coming in with that Scythe signature knockout and takes this round to their name and takes game number 3.
Yeah, Sandstorm doing a great job of catching the defensive movement from MegD. A lot of these dash jump aways and double jumps in neutral, and MegD maybe just might have to get a little bit on the aggressive as an adjustment. They go right back to Apocalypse. It feels like they're playing on the same map, even though it's very different. The two, Fortress and Apocalypse, are similar. And as we can see, D-Sig, as he tries to land, Sandstorm was completely on top of that final stock. As you remember, it started with neither of them having a scratch on him. Sandstorm just took such a sizable lead, ran away with it. Hopefully, looks to do that as we get into this fourth game.
Yeah, with Sandstorm being up 1 over MegD going into game number 4, MegD is going to be feeling a lot of pressure. And I think a lot of that pressure is going to be relying on that sword a lot because it's catching Sandstorm off guard so much. At the same time, he's got to be careful of how Sandstorm changes his gameplay going into his final stock knockouts, because realistically, MegD is just having a rough time and completely against Sandstorm during those times.
Yeah, MegD, although starting it out with some nice, just a little bit of tip and tap of edge guard, but Sandstorm, these weapon throws starting to stack up. Side sig catches seems to be working wonders. D-Late Sarah, MegD off stage, hasn't been able to make it back for so long. Nair gets caught, doesn't have any option, but finally able to land. MegD catches a dodge with a sidelight and starting to build up some nice damage. Not where you want to be if it's your Sandstorm. Tries to catch it again, but no. MegD no punish, but catches a Nair. Doesn't have any options on Sandstorm, but chooses to go up instead of down. A 50-50. MegD guesses wrong. Sandstorm holding stage control. Both players on a knife's edge at the moment. Weapon throw not going to do it. Gets the dare off stage. Sandstorm still around somehow. Finally, not enough options to make it back, and MegD with a lead in this game 4.
Absolutely, and you're definitely, I think MegD's feeling a lot more comfortable here. Well, actually not realistically, just because of how close it's getting. And I mean, Sandstorm's trying to get that site to take that neutral control from MegD, and we're starting to see that a little bit with Sandstorm trying to be a little bit more aggressive with that scythe, trying to go for that signature again. It caught MegD off guard the previous final stock round, and right now that knocks off the right side of the map. I haven't seen scythe knock off the side of that map like that across the map in a while. Holy cow.
MegD held that stock for so long, and that's what he does best. Just holds on to these stocks and builds up damage onto him. This lead starting to mount from MegD, holding center stage. Ser finally catches, holding in from Sandstorm, and Sandstorm, D-Late Nair takes him back, but not where you want to be. If you're Sandstorm, all of a sudden he holds stage control. GC D-Late, or GC N-Late catches him, and
wow.
Sandstorm loses a stock. MegD barely touched on the second stock.
MegD really wants this game number 4. He does not want to get knocked out in the elimination final. He wants to beat Sandstorm in this tournament. This is what he needs. But Sandstorm, with how his site's been, has been really taking advantage of MegD in the past, but MegD's almost changed a little bit on the way he's approaching Sandstorm. Sandstorm's kind of going in for these aggressive attacks here and there, and MegD's starting to kind of counter it a little bit.
MegD's spacing has gotten a lot better against a lot of these Sandstorm option selects, and Sandstorm makes it back. He uses a spot dodge. MegD, just the stare down from center stage and holding so much stage control against Sandstorm. Sandstorm catches a jump. D-Late, but still not that hurt on the second stock is MegD in a complete stock lead and a bit of damage to Sandstorm barely up off the top, not gonna do it. Nair just not strong enough. Sandstorm hunting for this KO, but MegD is as well.
I'm surprised we're not seeing a signature knockout, but MegD is like, you know what? We're getting that game number 4. Gets that sword side air knockout, and really showing that he wants to be here. And overall, the final part of that round just really had a phenomenal momentum and good lead over Sandstorm. And Sandstorm just had a rough time countering that sword. And I mean, MegD did 381 damage with sword and 173 damage with those gauntlets there. And so, you know what? I'm willing to go ahead and space you out. I'm willing to go and take that time that I need to take this game. And I mean, Sandstorm's doing pretty well in the beginning of that round with that scythe, neutral control, but throws out the same stuff that we saw in the previous round, and MegD's starting to counter it, and that's what it takes to go ahead and win a set, the adaptability between both of these players. So 2-2 is the final game. Hey, Serge, how do you feel about going into this next game?
What a set so far. Great. It feels like a lot of these MegD game wins are decided by an early lead that he takes, and Sandstorm seems to be able to claw back in each of his wins, locks in the Tesca, or the Chell, if you will, and
oh boy,
the boots have come out. It is time. The Game 5 selection doesn't want to wait for Grands, has to do it now because it has gone to a Game 5. Sandstorm in trouble. He knows the pocket pick has to come out, and I am very excited to see what he cooks up on this Chell.
I am too, because this is what Sandstorm was saying on social media, that he felt that this character was a lot more broken whenever he was playing it, right? He was going to take advantage of whenever he could. We saw this actually in previous top 32 matches, and look at the fucking destruction we're seeing so far there, Surge.
Oh my god, so many hits off of it, just MegD jumping out of each one and getting caught. Lost all of his options. Sandstorm all over him on this first stock, gets end lated to the side, making in so much trouble. Tries to hunt for a KO off the top, not going to do it. End late to the side again, so good at taking stage control. And Sandstorm hunting around, making it feels like he can't get in at all. Completely disarmed for the past 20 seconds, and MegD needs an adjustment. These boots, they're throwing feet, they're not throwing hands.
Yeah, and I know MegD is mentally thinking, what a shame for Sandstorm to be playing on those battle boots. But MegD now has to be in the situation of, okay, I need to find some type of sword gameplay against Sandstorm's battle boots. And realistically, those battle boots are just eating through MegD's sword gameplay.
Sandstorm clearly has labbed this out for quite a while. Playing very well so far. MegD has taken a nice lead though, reached the hold down. And Sandstorm in trouble in this first stock. But it's where he wants to be. MegD's taking quite a bit of damage into deep orange, and Sandstorm is just all extra credit. No dodge from MegD. Dealing Nair Sayer, not going to do it. MegD should be able to make it back, but Sandstorm, an edge guard incoming, holds it all the way down. Not going to do it. Just dealing down for his troubles. MegD able to clutch it out, but so damaged on the second stock. MegD really wants to clutch this out.
He does, man, and I don't blame him one bit in that regard, but I mean, he's down almost an entire stock against Sandstorm going into this game number 5. Oh, MegD going down to that final stock. Has to be very, very risky here going against Sandstorm, and it has to be a lot more passive against him realistically because of how aggressive Sandstorm's being with his battle boots. Unless he can find some type of dodge rate option on them, he's going to be stuck and hit by these different attacks by the battle boots.
Complete stock lead for Sandstorm right now. MegD just wants to claw his way back, but it's so hard. The end light beating out a Sayer from MegD, and Sandstorm seems to be just dominating with these boots. MegD can't get center stage. Finally able to do it from an overcommit from Sandstorm. A Nair, but Sandstorm makes it back, and it seems so difficult to build up damage on Sandstorm. Dealing catches.
Wow.
Nair with no follow-up. Grandpa not going to do it. Sandstorm struggling to find this KO, but still exactly where he wants to be. Sayer from ledge, desync, not gonna do it. Oh, it is!
Wow!
Off the right side, barely. Sandstorm clutching out this game 5.
Congratulations to Sandstorm on taking this game number 5 to their name in Moose Wars Frozen Fury 1v1s, and really saying, you know what, I will use that pocket pick when I need it. Had 502 damage on battle boots, and the rest on not even picking up those gauntlets. And realistically, I don't blame them, because MegD's sword gameplay was just getting absolutely decimated by it, really showing what Sandstorm could do to adapt. But MegD is definitely thinking, what a shame.